History remembers the grand pharaohs of Egypt, Ramses the Great, Akhenaten, Tutankhamun. But what about those who ruled in times of darkness? What about the kings who had to fight not for expansion, but for survival? Today, we uncover the story of Setnakhte, the man who rose from obscurity to rescue Egypt from chaos, founding the mighty 20th Dynasty. Who was he? How did he seize power? And why do we know so little about his reign? Before Setnakhte, Egypt was in crisis. The once mighty 19th dynasty was collapsing under weak rulers, internal corruption, and external threats. The throne was held by Queen Tuzret, a female pharaoh whose reign was marked by instability and division. Civil war erupted, and Egypt, once the world's most powerful empire, was falling apart. For the first time in centuries, Egypt stood on the brink of disaster. The question was, who would rise to restore order? Unlike the great rulers before him, Setnakhte's origins are a mystery. He was not the son of a pharaoh, nor was he born into an obvious royal bloodline. Some scholars believe he was a high-ranking military commander, others suggest he was a nobleman or even a powerful priest. What we do know is that when Egypt stood at its weakest, Setnakhte seized the throne with force and determination. But how did he do it? Was it a coup? A civil war? Or something even more complex? The records are scarce, but one thing is clear: by the time he took power, he ruled uncontested. With the throne secured, Setnakhte's next task was to restore order. Egypt's economy had suffered under years of instability. Trade routes had collapsed, temples had fallen into disrepair, and foreign enemies were circling like vultures. Setnakhte worked swiftly to rebuild Egypt's infrastructure, re-establish its divine authority, and reassert the pharaoh's dominance over the land. This was not a time of great expansion, but rather a time of survival. Egypt needed a leader, and Setnakhte filled that role with calculated precision. But despite his success in saving Egypt, Setnakhte's reign was short, lasting only around 3 to 4 years. He did not have time to build grand monuments or lead great military campaigns. Instead, his greatest achievement was securing the throne for his son, Ramses III. Ramses III would go on to defeat the Sea Peoples, defend Egypt's borders, and establish a new golden age. But none of that would have been possible without Setnakhte's decisive actions. One of the strangest mysteries surrounding Setnakhte is his tomb. Originally, he was meant to be buried in KV-11, but for unknown reasons it was abandoned. Instead, he was placed in KV-14, a tomb that had originally been built for Queen Tuzret, the very ruler he had overthrown. Did he run out of time? Was his burial rushed? Or was his original tomb considered cursed? These are questions that remain unanswered to this day. Setnakhte's story teaches us that leadership is not about grandeur, but about action. He did not have decades to build his legacy, but in a few short years he saved Egypt from collapse and ensured its survival for another century. His rule reminds us that sometimes, the most important leaders in history are not those who conquer, but those who restore and protect. Though his name is not as famous as those of Egypt's legendary rulers, Setnakhte was the pillar that held Egypt together in its darkest hour. Should he be remembered as one of the great pharaohs? Tell me what you think in the comments below. If you enjoyed this deep dive into ancient Egypt's forgotten rulers, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the sacred Egyptian order. Until next time, keep exploring the mysteries of the past, because history is always waiting to be uncovered.